Card number 108 from the 1953 Bowman Color set, Bobby Adams. One of the few, if not, well, I think I might have done one other video from that series of videos. That's one of only maybe two that I actually shot outside in the backyard. Here's that card again, Bobby Adams. As soon as I pulled this card, realizing it's session 108, I was reminded of a fellow YouTuber that very much liked this card. And it made me miss this fellow YouTuber. Some of you guys might remember Caitlin from the channel A League of Their Own. I'm going to throw this channel up here on the screen so that you guys can see it. Let's see here. Here it is. Here's Caitlin's channel, A League of Their Own. Looks like Caitlin has not done a video in 2 years now. But those of you that have been around for a while, I'm sure remember Caitlin. Caitlin started her channel. I just looked it up like six years ago. So like a year earlier than I did. And she was one of the first YouTubers that I connected with. Found her channel. She found my channel. And she made fantastic videos. I'm sure anybody that remembers her channel remembers that she made really fun videos, watchable videos, really one of those channels that you really look forward to whenever they post a new video. And like I said, it's been a couple years since she's done videos. Caitlin, if you're out there somewhere, I hope you'll find some time to come back into making videos at some point if you're still collecting. But it's the nature of YouTube. It's the nature of collecting. It's the nature of having a channel. There's just ebbs and flows to the hobby. People come, people go. But anyway, when I was looking at that card, I was remembering that she was a frequent commenter on my channel. Enjoyed conversing with her and other people about the set as I was building it. And this was one of her favorite cards. And I remember just joking around about the cards in this set because as we all know, they are posed to such a degree as to just make you smile. I mean, I don't really think Bobby Adams here is really focused on the play that he's making. And that's what makes this card and this set fantastic. So if it is session number 108, let's get into it. Card Room Live is not a show. It is a hangout, however, for fellow vintage collectors. We may or may not have guests. This time I'm going to put the link in the chat. I promise I will. We sometimes have things planned. Sometimes we don't have things planned. No matter what happens, though, we're going to waste some time, but it'll be time well wasted because we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, but mostly vintage cardboard. If you're here with us live, seems like a bunch of folks are in here already. Welcome. So welcome to my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to the commenters. Welcome to the people from X, the people from Instagram, those of you that are lurkers out there. Maybe one day you'll let us know who you are, but welcome to you as well. On the other hand, you might be listening to this later, and if you are, you might be going to work or coming home from work or sorting cards, looking at eBay, rolling the meatballs. Maybe you're making a list of things that you need for Thanksgiving. Maybe you're walking the dog, sitting on the john. I've had some requests already for Eddie Wakus. You might be thinking about Eddie. Here he is. You might be wondering what other kind of Mike Foolery we're going to get into tonight. Whatever you are doing, I hope you do get something out of this. If you have ideas for future sessions, or you want to hop on the live stream, or you have a topic that you want to suggest, I encourage you to reach out to me. My email is bowman53channel@gmail.com. My Instagram is Bowman53_Alex. I'm on X 1953 Bowman Color. And of course, all that information is located in the description below. This session of Card Room Live is brought to you by Blony Gum, the biggest piece of bubble gum in the world for just a penny. Blony blows bigger bubbles. Blony Gum. It's the sweet that lasts longer. I should have worn my Reindeer Studios Blony shirt, but I forgot. So with our sponsorship out of the way, for those of you that are here, if you have a question or an idea for a topic or a card or a set that you want to talk about, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, get ready to listen to silence because we're not afraid of silence in this live stream. Also, if you want to hop into the live stream, I'm going to drop the link here in just a moment. Maybe you want to talk about YouTube. Maybe you want to talk about collecting. Maybe you want to show some cards. Pull some cards for us to look at. Prepare yourself. Pour yourself a beverage and join the live stream. Let's see who's here. We got a couple wrench holders. Mike, Sports History Collector. The Eddie Wakus fan club where we all do shots. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh, the joke's flowing already. Orlando's here. What's up, Orlando? Another wrench holder. Reindeer Studios. Peter B is here. Peacemaker Cards is here. Reese ND Card Ranger. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Everyday Card Collector. Jason. How are those Chicago sports doing, Jason? Mark Hoyle's Impossible Dream is here. Called Shot Cards is here. Welcome to you, sir. Stephen with PH. Blue Rock TV is here. Joe Wood Collector. Doug is here. Dom is here. The Boston Kid. Hello, all fellow YouTubers, collectors, custodians of the cards that we love so much. Well said. Hammer 44 is here. Sammy Thunder is here. Low grade, no grade. Vintage is here. Baseball Time Traveler is here. Good to see you, sir. 3D 80s Kid. Yes, John requested Wakus. I mean, not that he wouldn't have come up anyway, but I wanted to make sure that we didn't forget Eddie. Blony blows, absolutely. Peeps is here. Vintage Sport Flips. Mookie is here, looking for the link. Another wrench holder, Don from Don's Field of Dreams Cards, is here. Does anybody want to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates and a baseball card scheme? Cooter Lev is here. Jason hates the Bears, everybody. The Card Story, Killebrew 3 is here. Everybody's here. So I've been promising to drop this link in the chat for the past several weekends, and I haven't done it. Brandon Ryan's here. What's up? So I'm going to put this in the chat. Here it is. I did it. You can't say I didn't do it. Feel free to jump in, guys, if you so choose. Talk about baseball cards. Talk about the hobby. Talk about YouTube. Whatever you so wish. You can stay for the hour. You can hop on for a minute and pop off. It's up to you. Here's Don's comment on that Pittsburgh Pirates concept. Terrible deal. Who wants to sit behind home plate and watch Skeens pitch for the Yankees or the Dodgers? Pittsburgh Pirate fans don't even want to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates, right? Yeah, I guess that kills that topic. We can move on to other stuff. I've been spending this afternoon, a rare amount of afternoon time. I got to spend this afternoon working on an upcoming video. I'm going to hold off on jumping into that in case anybody wants to hop on here. Are any cards on your radar at the moment? Not really, Sammy. Usually the way I collect is, I have an endless list, and I've got saved searches, and I'm always looking at that saved search, but I've honestly not been looking at it very much of late. I've shown this card almost every Sunday for the past 3 Sundays. This is the last card I got, this Gaudy Virgil Davis. This is probably going to be the last card I get for this year, at least, because right now I'm really focused on holidays and travel and trips and Christmas presents, and I've got niece and nephew and family members, and the the bills are already piling up in my head. So I'm going to take it easy on cards for a while. Um, but even before holidays and presents and stuff, I really haven't been looking that much. Um, I don't know why. It's sort of I didn't like. I know some people like to do like no card November, which I think is a great idea. I didn't self-impose it, but I just saw myself sort of slowing down with collecting for a little bit. Um, Really, actually, probably after the national. Um, I'm sure it'll ramp up again in the new year. But I've actually kind of enjoyed just kind of slowing down a little bit, and I'm doing a lot of reading. I'm doing a lot of like watching documentaries and thinking about videos that I want to make, and working on other projects and stuff. So that's kept me busy. Still very much in the hobby. Obviously, Sunday nights keep me on track too, but not really eyeing anything in particular. That was the biggest offer the Pirates have made to anyone in decades. Nice. Am I going to Strongsville? No, I don't. I don't think so. Um, but I've got it in the back of my mind to get to Chicago next summer for sure. That's in the works. That's in the plans, and I think that's honestly. I mean, Strongsville sounds like a ton of fun, and I'd like to go, but I just don't think it's in the cards. No pun intended. But I definitely think Chicago can happen. So I'll be eyeing Chicago as the next plan. And like one, I would love to go to more card shows, but where I am regionally, it's not really. There's not much to choose from. So if I'm going to go to a card show, I have to do flights, which is just another added expense. And hotels and everything else. It's just like, I don't know. I think for right now, given where I am regionally, one major card show a year probably is good for me. It wasn't John, it wasn't intended, but as I said it, I was like, I decided, I'm going to stand by it. Now that the elections are over, it's time to get your YouTube Hall of Fame campaigns going. By the way, my vote can be bought. There you go, everybody. What are the stipulations again? You have to have had. I totally forget now. I'm like blanking. You have to have had a channel for what is it? 3 years? You have to have had a channel. Is that right? I don't remember. Somebody fill everybody in on what the requirements are for eligibility for the YouTube Hall of Fame. The Boston Kid will be in Chicago. All right, man. Well, let's keep that list going of who's going to be in Chicago so we can all make sure we meet up. Always a thrill when everyone gets together. It's a thrill even when a small group of collectors get together. Mookie Chilson and I got a glimpse of Rocket Rick's Bowman sets. Very cool. That's great. Yeah, and even at the National this past summer, it was cool when people would, obviously it was cool to see people's pickups and stuff, but a lot of people would actually bring stuff from their collections anyway, just to share. Like they weren't trying to move anything necessarily. They just brought stuff to share with fellow collectors, so we could check it out. And that was actually one of my favorite parts of the National, was just getting to see other people's stuff in person. It's great to see videos, but to see somebody's collection in person is hard to beat. There you go, everybody. Jason is offering to be everyone's tour guide. So, make sure you take a screenshot of that and remind him that he promised to take you on a tour. There you go. So it's 3 years of sports card content. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Don. Yeah, 3 years making videos, and you have to have been on for 1 year in order to be able to vote. Got it. Jason has not even hit a year yet, dude. You're just burning through that time. It feels like you've been on for 5 years already somehow. Three years and a medical degree. Doug operates on a higher level. I mean, we all knew that, but there's your proof. Good to see you, Doug. Orlando's eligible next time. That's crazy. Orlando's still not eligible. What's up, Pre-War Dreams? Thank you very much. Everybody, make sure you check out Pre-War Dreams channel. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat. In case anybody was not here last time or didn't have a chance to subscribe, let me make sure I spell it correctly. So you should look up this channel, copy paste it, and subscribe. Is there a YouTube Hall of Fame VIP parking garage in Chicago as well as Cleveland? You know, that would be awesome. Are there any perks to being in the YouTube Hall of Fame? Aside from getting the patch, of course. Let's see. Whoops. With Beckett's last nail in the coffin and the owner doing prison time, are you planning on crossing over any cards in Beckett slabs? I don't have any Beckett slabs. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that. Sammy and the Rocket and I had a blast today. That's great. We get limo service. I wish. There's TJ's online. Chicago or bust. The Ford wagon queen. Really, truckster is gassed and ready to roll. You're a little ahead of the game, TJ. But I like your enthusiasm. If anything, I'm buying up more Beckett slabs. This is the most relevant they've been in years. All right. I like the avatar. Hope you're doing well as well, Aaron and Jordan. Sammy will be eligible. Everybody double check. You don't want to vote for somebody and then discover that they don't fit within that time frame. I've been banned from the YouTube Hall of Fame for betting on videos. There you go, Mike, the Pete Rose of the card community, apparently. That's why you're going to Strongsville, because you can drive there. Yeah, I mean, if I were within the vicinity and I could drive there, absolutely, I wouldn't think twice about it. People at Publix are looking at me crazy as I look for medicine in the aisle. I got to watch this live. No excuses. All right, Lou, if you're trying to get walking around in Publix looking for medicine added to the list, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna try it at least one time next time. Let's see. Publix. Technically, you're here doing that. You're not doing that after, but that might make an appearance next time. Everybody watch out. Just don't bump into Lou. He's watching a live stream. You guys should get the Addy Jost exception only while living, of course. Man. So Orlando is definitely eligible. I'm going to say that Orlando has a pretty decent shot, I would say. Orlando is one of the best channels out there. There you go. Everybody make sure you hit up Don. Don will give you a great endorsement for the right price. Bob isn't feeling well. Hope that changes soon, man. Their first video has to be at least 3 years from when Jake does the announcement video in mid-January. Right. So it's not just like a random amount of time. It's got to be from the day that he posts the video. Rocket Rick is here. What's up, Rocket Rick? Boston Kid is in the backyard with the fire going, listening to the best vintage weekly show. Well, then what are you doing in here, man? Because you must be like multitasking. There's Mr. Mike Petty, Orlando, Sammy, and Splendid Sports. Only good things. Only good things. I hear there was a meetup, Rick. Reindeer Studios. I think Dylan gets in first ballot too. Look at this. We're already playing MLB Network predictions for the for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Oh my goodness. Buy your YouTube rookie cards before the election. Yeah. There should be YouTube cards out there. I know everybody has like custom cards to some degree. I wish there was some way to sort of memorialize all that. Anybody got any cards they want to look up? Any sets? Anything anybody's searching for these days? Next few years are going to be tough to get in. So many great channels becoming eligible. Yeah. It's like The View, but just about baseball cards. Yeah. I don't know about that. If it is like that, I'm gonna have to cancel it. Really digging the 1929 cash-in set. Thank you, Jason. Of course, there's a fantastic Babe Ruth in there. Let's see. Here we go. I'm just going to open up a few of these randomly to see what we've got. But Jason or anybody else, if you have some specific ones that you want to look up or open up, let me know. Here is Frank Shanty Hogan of the New York Giants. Great image. Here's a very, very famous photograph of Mr. Lou Gehrig, which of course we all know has been used for other cards. The scrolling mouse sound would kind of take up this silence here, but it's gone. Here is Hack Wilson. I always think of Hack Wilson with a bat in his hand. So it's nice to see him fielding here, throwing. Let's see. That's right. This man knows a thing or two about the Cash and Ruth. They have one on here somewhere. See if I can find one. Here's the Ruth. Yeah, these are really fun, Jason. Thank you for suggesting them. Rocket Rick is looking for a 1940 play ball DiMaggio. Yeah, the 41 is the color version. This one has the 39 pennant logo on it. Joe Wood Collector Doug is looking for a card that may or may not be on eBay. Let's give it a shot. E2220. Heine. There's a name you don't hear very much after the 1920s. Here it is. May or may not be legit, but we'll just look at it. Shit. Scott is the Whoopi Goldberg of the show. Oh boy. Now we're getting into it. I'm looking for Lou Rock says I'm looking for cards, but there's too much competition in the YouTube universe. It's rough. Yeah, I also heard about someone buying a Cash and Ruth but never making a video about it. Let's take a look at the Cash and Jimmy Fox before we move on from the Cash and cards. This is another image that has been used for other cards. And I actually think the photograph is more pleasing. Yeah, very cool. Mike says a guy on Net54 has a ton of cash-ins that are fresh to the hobby. That's cool. I'd love to hear the story behind that, how that came about, how those were found. Yeah, Jason, you need to get on Net54. That is a fantastic place for looking for and talking about pre-war. Mookie could describe Mike Petty as fresh to the hobby. You could and you should. How big are the cash-ins? Does anybody have a? I mean, I could look it up real quick. Measurement. They're pretty big. 3.5 by 4.5 inches. Mr. Think Blue 77, Jesse's here. What's up, Jesse? Check out DiMaggio's at-bats versus strikeouts. The man hardly ever struck out. Yeah, that was back when people tried not to strike out, right? Let's see. Sports Cards is here. Good evening to you as well. No wonder why Ted Williams called DiMaggio and Willie Mays the two best players he ever saw. Low grade, no grade vintage. Looking for 52 Bowman Campanella and 64 Tops stand up Clemente at the Philly show in a few weeks. Very cool. I like how specific that is. 52 Bowman. I can't resist looking up a Bowman card. Mm-hmm. And 64 Tops. Clemente. That's the one where he's throwing, right? Yeah. Another card where it's cool to see a player that I just always feel like Clemente's got a bat in his hand in a lot of his cards, so it's cool to see him throwing, fielding. Warren D in the CLE. What's up? Larry's here too. What's up, Larry? Yeah, Don knows a thing or two about this card. A thing or two about Tops stand-ups in general. Just was like a few weeks ago. It was actually the other Don from the show and me posted a photograph. I think on Twitter of a complete sheet of 64 Tops stand-ups that was at a show, I guess. Let me see if I can find it. It might be kind of tough. Maybe not. We'll see. Yeah, how about that? I found that pretty quickly. Shout out to Don from the show and me. This was a photograph of stand-ups. Priced at $65,000. The cool thing about this, obviously it's a proof or an uncut sheet, which is cool, but it's really just kind of neat to see them all next to each other in an unbroken line with the field being uniform behind them all. Pretty neat. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Just never really thought about what they would look like together. That's how the 54 tops were printed in upside down rows. Is that right? Let's look at uncut sheets, guys. I mean, why not? I just found a 54 tops sheet. If this thing will open. Too small. Oh, here we go. That's much better. Here's a 54 tops. Which you guys can't see. Swing and a miss. There we go. Oh, look at this guy. He's been back here this whole time. How long have you been waiting?
Oh, not long at all. Just wanted to stop by to say hello.
What's up, Sammy?
Oh, not much. And you brought the 64 stand-up panels. We actually, I don't know if it's the same dealer or not, but there's a guy at Shriners who had a panel that he was selling. And I think it's probably his. I think that's the price he was asking for, but I'm not 100% sure. But I remember seeing a 64 stand-up panel. I was just amazed by it.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I don't know if Don is in here tonight because this was off of his Twitter feed, but it's probably the one you saw. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, this apparently the guy that was selling it told me that he has a lot more than just that alone. He had a bunch of, I mean, you could see actually the basketball cards on the left. I think that's the 71 set. And he had that with him. I mean, he was telling me that he has a lot more than what was showcased, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But because you just don't see those that often.
Right.
Really hardly ever.
How into, like, are there any sort of I don't know, I'm trying to think of what to call them. Not necessarily uncut sheets, but I guess uncut sheets or like salesman samples. Are you into any of that kind of thing?
Not really. I mean, it's not really. It's something that's going to be too expensive for me to really kind of find. But I admire seeing them together like that.
Right.
It's just a cool. Yeah. I mean, the top 54 sheet. I think Mookie was talking about how they were kind of printed that same way, like one upside down from the other.
Right, and which makes sense if you think about the thing that I think bothers some people about 54 tops is that top to bottom, it's off center in terms of not having the white border around everything cleanly, but you can see why it is now looking at how they printed them.
Yeah, I don't mind that as much actually, because I mean I can't really show it because I can't go up to the camera because it's gonna be too dark. But like the 52 tops maze that I have,
right?
Kind of it definitely has like the white around the here and this side on the bottom, but yeah, the top is clearly missing.
Right.
Is the maze on that sheet that we're seeing, or no? No, he wouldn't be.
No,
not on that sheet. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting the choices that they made at that point in time.
Right. Jason's saying here the layout on both of the sheets is based on the background colors. Yeah, it makes sense. They're trying to make it as efficient as they can.
Yeah. So that's actually one of my favorite sets as far as design goes.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot. We were looking today. I mentioned in the chat earlier, but we were looking at the Bowman collection or the Bowman sets that Rick has, and I think Rick did finally make it into your chat. And Mookie commented on how, like, what was is it the 1950 that has the different colors, or is it 1949? 1949 has different colors.
Yeah.
And Mookie was commenting about how the colors, like the color choices, are just, it's when you see them on a page together with all different colors, it really stands out.
Yeah, it's true. And that's the thing about building a set. You don't necessarily like realize that or have the opportunity to appreciate it until you see them all together. But yeah, that's a really fun set. And I think it was actually when I saw Dave Blue Jackets channel, who has a lot of videos on the 49 Bowman set. That's when I first appreciated that set more than just looking at the individual cards.
We also noticed, I think initially, was that the color scheme. I'm not as familiar with the Bowman sets, but I think what the initial color scheme on the early series was like blue and red. Is that the
Right.
two color schemes? And then as you kept going forward, they started changing the colors up.
Right. I think that sounds right. Yeah. And what's also kind of fun is because the process was not an exact science, sometimes the blues would be more skewed towards purple or a lighter blue. And so then you had what are considered variations, I think.
And the backs as well. We noticed on the set that there's some darker backs and lighter backs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, is that something that they classified, or do they just equate all the backs to be like the same in terms, or like, you know how like the 55 or the 56, they have the gray and white backs?
No, I think they are designated as different. And like if you
Okay.
wanted to build the master set, you'd have to, get both.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's a good set. I mean, it was great to look at, to see the variety. So
Right.
cool, man. Well, I don't want to hold up any longer. I'll let you continue.
Okay.
I just wanted to stop by and say hello, man.
Appreciate it, Sammy.
You got it. See ya.
If only there were a collector who worked in printing. Somebody mentioned Brandon here. I'd like to hear the story on how that sheet walked out the back door at Topps. I'll tell you guys a quick story. Like a year or two ago, I tracked down the son of one of the gentlemen that worked in the Bowman factory. And I have all his information. I've been meaning to kind of get back in touch with him and like interview him. But I forget how I found him. It was probably actually through Net54, and found his contact information and reached out to him. It turned out that he had been related. I don't know if he was a son or like a grandson or like maybe his uncle. Somebody worked at the Bowman factory. And when he was a kid, it would have been, I guess, somewhere in the late 50s or something. No, early mid 50s. And every now and then he would bring like his relative or whoever it was that was connected to the factory would just bring home sheets. And a lot of the stuff that he would bring home were the mistakes, just like maybe it was just a printing of black and white, or maybe it was not supposed to be a mistake, but the printing process was off, where maybe the red landed slightly off, and so they just scrapped the sheet. And so he said as a kid he just had tons and tons of these sheets. Some of them mistakes, some of them not necessarily. And he said he had so many that he used them as wallpaper. And somebody mentioned up in the comments a little earlier, like there's not quite enough for wallpaper. This kid actually used like sheets of baseball cards for wallpaper as a kid. And I called him on the phone. He was telling me this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And of course, the tragic story which is always the tragic story from that time period, is that at a certain age, all that stuff came off the wall and was just trashed and thrown out. Of course, right? Because that's that's the tragic story of baseball cards from the 50s and 60s. But he also said that one summer when he was older, like maybe in his teenage years or in his 20s, he actually interned at the factory and would help with the printing process. And one of his jobs was to go down into the basement of the factory and make room for the new inventory, which meant going back through whatever they had in storage. And the older the material, the less likely they still needed it, the more likely they would just pitch it. And he said they would just be throwing out reams and reams and reams of cards, just because they didn't need them anymore and they were out of print and no longer needed. So they would just get rid of them. And again, just endless painful stories. Orlando has an 1888 N76 Great Americans proof set. That's really cool. Has anyone, Killer Brew asks, anyone own or have viewed in person any graded E107 cards from 1903? The Matty is my favorite. What a set. Phillies Baseball Cards has a neat video on this set and a recent sale. I don't know that I'm familiar with that. E107. So I found an overview of it. Oh, really? That's cool, Orlando. Worked in printing for 40 years, press, and then in sales. Peeps says the 54 Angel Skull is fascinating as he never actually got to play in the bigs. That's cool. Did not know that. Jason, during the mass production / junk wax era, there were sheets walking out the back door all the time. I know this for a fact. Make ready sheets get lifted all the time. Make ready are the sheets that get the press up to color, right? Yeah, it would be interesting to see how many guys have cards but never actually played in the majors. Yeah. Did Bowman print in-house or did they send them out? They would send them out. They would send them out, and I'm forgetting the name of the printer. You give me a second, I can find it. I'm sure some of you guys know. Zabel, the Zabel brothers. I'll show you guys a little. There's not a lot to find of the Zabel brothers, but I'll show you what I have found, which is this really tiny ad. Let me see if I can throw this up on the screen. And somehow it's $8.50 already. Man. There you go. There's the Zabel Brothers logo. Zabel Brothers Company, Incorporated, music printers, engravers, and lithographers. Let's see, what does it say here? 5th Street and Columbia Avenue in Philadelphia. Mike says, I cut up my 1971 Topps to make wallpaper for inside my closet. That's brilliant. Thank you. I'm always happy to help you guys waste time. You guys help me waste time too. It's a mutual thing. Yes, very, very expensive wallpaper, right? Who knew? Who knew? That's the joy of 50s and 60s and 70s baseball cards. Everybody just enjoyed the cards. I didn't worry about how much they were worth. You know, there's a tragedy in there in terms of all the stuff that got thrown out, but let's see. Hey, Mike, have a great week yourself. Appreciate it, Don. What's up, Sexton? Kentucky Cardboard. Worked in the ink industry for 25 years. A lot of pre-press evaluations going on. Sure. Fleer was printed in the Chicago area in the 90s. Should try to combine all this information, guys. Very cool. You never know what we're going to talk about in Cardroom Live. How did that even happen? Oh, yeah, somebody mentioned stand-ups, and then we were off to the races. I'm working on, just to share this with you guys real quick, I'm working on on that Christy Mathewson video. I don't really have a whole lot to show for it yet. Here's what it looks like so far in the timeline. Really just a bunch of pictures. This is Factoryville. This is where Mathewson grew up. I've been having a lot of fun finding photographs to go along with the story that I'm telling. So these are all photographs that I found of Factoryville, Pennsylvania. This is a really cool map, like an illustrated map of Factoryville, some postcards. Here's a more modern day shot of Factoryville. Here's a really cool shot. I don't know if I can make this full screen. Really cool shot of Christy Mathewson with some fellow buddies. I think maybe one or two of these kids might actually be also his brothers. I can't tell, but he is very young in this photograph. He's on the far right-hand side. You'll be able to see it whenever I finish this video. But I've been really trying to find fun photographs. You know, there's some really famous photographs in here that everybody is familiar with. Like this one, everybody knows this photograph of Christy Mathewson, but I've also been finding some ones that are maybe not as commonly seen. This one, for example. So it's been really fun trying to just look for stuff that you don't always see necessarily. And I'm just kind of digging around and going into Net54 again and other places to look for photographs. And it's been a lot of fun. So this one's, you know, it's slow going, but I'm just trying to enjoy it. And, you know, one of these days it'll get done, but taking my time with it in no hurry. Well, guys, that is it for this evening. Pepino Man is up next at 9 o'clock on For Collectors. If you enjoyed this live stream about nothing, hey, you can't blame me because I put the link in the chat. Y'all didn't come in. Well, Sammy did. Thank you, Sammy. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. It matters. We appreciate it. Next Sunday, we should probably do some sort of like Thanksgiving warm-up or something. We'll figure something out. Maybe I might actually like come up with an idea. If anybody has any ideas, text me or email me, bowman53channel@gmail.com. Until next Sunday night, guys, have a great week. Take care and enjoy Pepino Man. Good night.